What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. How is everybody feeling this weekend, man? We're back with another awesome episode, another brand new, fresh face, brand new guest on the podcast. But before we get into the pleasantries, just want to say, what's up, chat? How are y'all doing today? We back like we never left. Appreciate you guys. Let me do a quick rounds. War Chicken, Sean Sue, got some of the guys here on the panel hanging out, man. Once again, retweet that link. Let everybody know we're live at the Shop Podcast. Come pile in here, talk some games, have some fun. You know how we do the damn thing here. But let's get to our special guest. A gentleman that I saw him on ILP's podcast, believe it or not. Became a big fan of his, started following him right after, went to his YouTube channel, checked out his content, saw that he had amazing content, and been a big fan ever since. So, Assemble, great for you to be joining us today, brother. Let everybody in the chat know what's going on with you, where they can find you, brother.
No, thanks for having me. This is a lot of fun, and I appreciate it. I didn't know at first you were like, oh, I found you on the ILP. I love those guys. But yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. It's gonna be a lot of fun with you guys tonight. You can check me out over at youtube.com/assemble show, all one word. And basically what I got going on is really just daily nerdy content that we all love and we all check out on a regular basis. Everything from gaming news and updates of what's going on PlayStation and Xbox, looking at DC and Marvel. I kind of got an itch for later tonight to stream just Falcon Winter Soldier, wrap up for the season. So I'm tempted with that. But yeah, a little bit of stuff for everybody. A little bit of wrestling in there too. But just all the passions and things that we all kind of geek out about. Just talking about that on a daily basis.
Awesome. Well, once again, glad to have you here. You know, brother from the north, obviously the hell out of Toronto, man. So shout out to you for taking a little bit of time. I know we had some issues with the time difference, but we got it figured out. And once again, glad to have you here, man. So you guys do me a favor. If you're a fan of the show, all his information is down in the description below. Go follow him everywhere he is at. The Patreon, I put it down there. The YouTube channel, everything that man has going on. Would appreciate you guys. Go check out Assemble. You will not be disappointed. So thank you once again, Assemble, for hanging out with us, brother. So let's go ahead and move on. Thank you. No problem, man. So let's go ahead and move on to the Four Horsemen. We full strength this week. So Stag look like he's back, hanging out with us. Let us know what's going on with you. How's your week been, Stag?
I'm not here.
He's here.
I just realized 3.5. Sunday, I gotta go.
3.5 men. That's what we got going on.
Yeah.
Here.
Hey, what are you saying?
Oh, man.
Man, things are going all right. I just had a schedule change on my stream because my kid's back in school now, but it's only like half days. So I had to pick him up middle of stream. So I'm like, yeah, that ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
So I switched schedule this last week. What's that?
You get to put your kids in school.
Yeah, my youngest went back sooner, but now my oldest is back in, and I actually have to drive him to school and pick him up. So, I mean, he could technically take public transportation, but I mean, I'm home. So
yeah,
you save that for a punishment.
God, he's so good though, man. He's the reason we had a second kid, and we regret that. But you know. Not really. I'm just kidding. If anybody knows, I love my kids. But no, I mean, we just been. I got the words are really easy to come by as usual. The schedule's pinned on my Twitter wall if you want to go check that out. But yeah, man, just been playing games and doing builds on stream and playing baseball. Outriders. I just started that new remake of what is it? Near Replicant? I might be saying Replicant. That dude. I'm super excited about that game. Like, it's really a lot of fun to play. The combat's great. I don't like all the fetch missions, but that's always my biggest complaint about RPGs. But it's still a beautiful game, and it's huge, and it's a lot of fun. So glad to be back. I'm tired as always, but I'm here.
Awesome, and we glad to have you. We need that Stag energy, man. Balance things out.
Just here to be nice to chat today.
Yeah, until Chris gets in here. And then
I don't pay attention to that guy. Until he brings me some mac and cheese, man, we're not cool.
Nice. So shout out to you for being here, though, Stag. We appreciate having your energy back, man. I'm sure the chat appreciates you being here as well. Like I said, always balancing things out. So, Pong, what's up with you, bro? How you been?
Man, it's been a crazy busy week. It's just things are starting to get back to quote unquote normal in a little bit of a way. So work is, we're talking hell here, and it's going to be that way for a while because a lot of stuff going on. So I was happy happy to get to the weekend, obviously, and to be back here with you guys. Didn't get as much gaming in as I normally do this week, but played some Curse of the Dead Gods. Still rocking on that. Yeah, amazing game. Amazing game. I love that game more and more, and they just came out with an update for it. So they added some new stuff, some new wrinkles, which was cool. Of course, hitting the NBA 2K still, as always, and then actually got some co-op time in with some Zombie Army 4 Dead Wars. So just a fun game. Just like, again, not every game has to be, the deepest of games. This game is just fun, pure fun, and with some co-op, getting 4 guys in there and running around shooting zombies and just having a good time. So that's what that game's about. It looks crispy, especially at 120. The 120 frames is just beautiful on the Series X. So loving that. But otherwise, you know what? As we were talking about PTK, it's amazing how quick the weeks are just flying by. Man, we're about to May already. This is unbelievable. Can't wait to get down, man. We got some good topics tonight. We had a lot happen this week, so I'm sure we're going to have some good discussions. And of course, Assemble. It's a pleasure to have you here. I saw you on ILP as well. One of my favorite shows. Shout out to those guys, man. The Lords are just amazing. Yeah, absolutely. But great to have you here, Assemble. Appreciate you being here, and can't wait to hear your thoughts.
We got to talk Zombie Punk, because I downloaded that. I have not turned it on yet, and I was really curious to see how that is, because I was thinking the exact same thing, where it's probably a really just solid game, like just a solid, easy to play, pick up and go. But I want to try that out for sure.
Yeah, no problem, man. We'll talk about it. Yeah.
All right, nice. Well, once again, Pong, glad to have you here. I know you've been, rookie of the year out here, man, on Twitter. So you out here doing 3, 4, 5 shows a week now. You're pretty busy, but work's picking up. But once again, always glad to hear your voice and have you here, man. So throw this over to you, Centurion, bro, where everybody can find you. Let everybody know what's cooking up with you, Centurion.
Everybody can find me. What, are you kicking me off already?
Yeah, do your outros. Let's go.
Everybody can find me at Centurion1307 on YouTube, Twitter, Xbox. It's been great. The chat was on fire tonight. Oh man, as you can tell, I am on one. I am ready to talk games and just have some fun with some good friends and the awesome people in the chat. It's great to see everybody's just already everybody's already chatting away, man. Tonight's gonna be great.
All right, man. Well, let's dive in, man. Last but not least, Fuzzy Belvedere. Let's smooth things out for us. How you doing today, brother?
Not too bad. Finally got my the expansion card for the Series X and the Series S for the boys and stuff, and just moving some games around and realizing that I'm probably going to need a couple of those cards.
Those things fill up quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it's like everything that's been enhanced for the Series X and S, I'm going to try to fit either on the internal or on the slot and try to get through a lot more of those. So
now, what'd you think of the weight of it when you pulled it out?
It's I expected it to be a little bit lighter, but it's got.
Yeah, I know it's pretty dense.
Yeah, but it's. I figure for the was it like a heat shield or heat surround around it and stuff like that. It's going to have a little bit of weight to it, but so far so good. Everything was pretty much smooth. Didn't have to format or anything. Just plug in, move games, and go. So
nice.
But pretty happy with it, and man, so much gaming news this past week. I'm not going to take up any more time. Let's get into it.
Let's dive into it, chat. Once again, hit the like button, subscribe if you've not already. Shout out to everybody coming in. Blue, I see you, brother. Ashtray, Payne 911. Shout out to you, man. Everybody just rocking out. Zinc, I seen you showing up. So once again, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate the support. Let's dive in. So we always do, man. Poll of the week. So poll of the week. Shout out to everybody who voted for this poll of the week, man. It was another amazing one. So I do it every Monday. Follow me on Twitter. When we do it, we talk about it here on every Saturday on the Shop Podcast. So the poll of the week this week was, when a game drops it as single player and multiplayer modes, which one do you play first and why? So just a real, not funny question, but just a real general question, because for me, I've always been a big multiplayer guy, for a majority of my video game playing career, I guess you can say. So I tend to dive in multiplayer first if the option's available. But we'll start with you, Assemble. Just get your quick opinion on, you a multiplayer first if the game has the option, or always story.
It's funny. I have always been traditionally story first. I go in with, even if it's something like, I'm just off the top of my head, I'm just thinking of Call of Duty. For years playing
great
that,
example.
I would always, even if it was a 4-hour campaign, I'm always going in for the story first and either be able to get a feel for that and crank it out. But I'd always go story first. But what's interesting is now in the last, I'd say 2 years, I have found myself, especially when it's online shooters, things like that, I've really just been jumping into multiplayer. And that could be just because of just knowing in large part, what the story campaign might be. Even if it's going to be pretty average. But yeah, I typically, I would say it's story first.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what the funny thing is? That's actually flip-flop for me as well. So I actually, it just depends on the type of game, but using the Call of Duty example, I was actually always multiplayer for Call of Duty. Just because the campaign always felt like an afterthought. It's for Call of Duty specifically for me. That's a majority where I spent a lot of my time not last generation, but the 360 generation, back when Call of Duty kind of in its heyday, although it's kind of making a second wave around, Call of Duty's coming back to where it needs to be. But yeah, it just depends. I know the game, depending on the type of game, is going to kind of sway the particular person. But I'm still more of a co-op guy. If it has co-op, then I'll do that. That would actually be like a third option, would be co-op, because most games nowadays have that option available. So if I would add something to the list, it would have been co-op, and that definitely would have been first for me. But let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Stag. Get your quick opinion. I believe you tweeted it like maybe 30 minutes ago that you're more of a single player guy. So just kind of where you at with that.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's got like co-op campaign. I mean, but I don't think that really. I mean, that is multiplayer, but I know you mean multiplayer, but more or less competitive multiplayer, I think is what you're getting at.
Yeah.
But I'm always about the campaign. So if that's single player, more often than not, I'm going to jump straight into that. But like even Outriders, like I've played a little bit with some friends, but for the most part, I'm playing that game solo. So I've predominantly in my gaming career, I mean, I used to play a ton of Halo 2 multiplayer and 3, and then I played a lot of Gears of War multiplayer and Horde. I love Horde. Horde's great. Well, it was until they added all the stupid bullshit that you don't need. And I'm a huge fan of Horde 2 on Gears of War 2. Best Horde they ever fucking made, because you didn't need to do all that other stupid shit, and it was actually harder. In my opinion. I know Zink's gonna have something to say about that. But, that's fine. But yeah, I've always been more of a single player kind of a I like the stories, I like the campaigns, but I do really like, kind of wish Outriders was like 4 players, but I really love that it's 3 players, and I'm really looking forward to a Second Extinction next week.
Yeah, that's 4 players.
So that 3-player shooting fucking dinosaurs.
It's 3 players still. Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, it's 3 players as well. So it's really interesting how this trend has gone from like, a lot of these games were 2-player co-op, and then they were like 4-player co-op, and now they're like there's this move towards 3-player co-op. So it's just interesting how like these things kind of move around. But if I would have remembered to vote, I would have voted single player. So like I said in my response, I've been a little bit hazy this week. So like I don't like competitive multiplayer really at all anymore. It just gets me mad now. Like I don't know. Maybe it's just not for me. So. Well, unless it's Paladins, because I really like Paladins. So but I also feel like that's like super like cheesy. You know what I mean? It's not like like a Call of Duty where it's like fucking war,
sweaty, sweaty.
Yeah, it's not sweaty. I mean, it gets sweaty, but it's just it's different. There's fucking magic. You know what I mean? So like I don't know. For some reason in my head, it's like this is totally different.
It's easier to tolerate. It's easier to tolerate
for some reason. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, like. Warframe's really cool to play with other people. Outriders is really cool, but I just don't like. I'm just not a PvP kind of guy. Even not PvP, but just PvP, but even multiplayer PvP kind of thing. It's just, man, I'd rather play with you than against you. And if I can't do that, then I'm just gonna go play the campaign.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. I want to double back and ask you another question, Assemble. Has there ever been a game where one ruined the other, the symbol, or where you played the campaign first and it ruined the multiplayer, or vice versa, where you played the multiplayer?
No, but I can say Call of Duty ruined Halo multiplayer. Oh wait, it did for me anyways. Like I hated that, like, because I really loved Halo 2 and Halo 3 multiplayer, and then when COD became super popular, like they started doing things to make Halo
loadouts and things like that.
And it really just man, I miss the old days where it was like it really mattered how good you were with a BR.
I guess it's that I'm with you. That for a while there with Call of Duty specifically, it turned me off when everything was getting super ultra futuristic, and then we got into wall jumping and just dash, shoot, and then crazy loadouts, and I'm just too stupid to keep up anymore. And so because I grew up with like original Call of Duty on my PC, and I just loved it. I loved how it felt, and the campaign was solid. It was a great story, and then moved into multiplayer with like Modern Warfare 2 and things like that. And then it just got way off the rails for me. And then I even said this on my show the other day that when we see like EA Play coming out with the 120 hertz with Titanfall 2, for example.
Yeah.
And that's where like at the same time when that came out, I swear it was like Call of Duty was doing their Infinite Warfare, Modern Warfare stuff where it was all in space and everything. I'm like, these games are exactly the same. So I felt like, Call of Duty went way too far for me into just wall jumping, sprint. And you just respawn and die instantly.
Yeah.
So I fell off for a while, and then I started coming back when they started going a little bit. They slowed down a little bit. I still suck.
The main thing for me, like with multiplayer, I invested months and time into being good at multiplayer. I don't have that time anymore. I had kids, and you've seen pictures in my game room and the backlog that I have. So I mean, I want to experience the worlds. You know what I mean? And you can't do that when you're just doing 4v4. So.
Yeah, no, I feel you. All right, well, let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong. Get your quick opinion, man. Single player, solo, you jumping in every single time, regardless of whether it has multiplayer or not, or you always going to play multiplayer?
It's a mixed bag for me. It just depends on the game. Like, that's a hard one to answer. I would probably say if I had to choose one, the majority is probably single player first. Just from the simple fact I like to get the feel of the game without jumping into, a multiplayer, like that MP kind of style match right away. I like to get a feel, even though it's not the same necessarily. I just kind of like to see how the world is before I hop into something competitive. So I think I would probably say more single player. But at this point, after all these years, when I get a Call of Duty, am I hopping into single player first? No, I'm hopping into multiplayer right away out the gates. Of course, I like the campaigns, but honestly, I buy them because I'm going to play multiplayer. That's what I'm going to do. So
another thing too, Pong, not to cut you off here, but a lot of the games you play now they're hybrid. The single player is the multiplayer.
In a lot of ways, sure, yeah.
So I mean, like the Destinies, and they're all, it's just one big map. And essentially, you have those different elements built in, but a lot of the games we play now don't really have that identity. They're all just a hybrid of single player, multiplayer, co-op, all these different. You can do all of them at the same time, essentially.
Exactly. You're debunking your own question here, PTK.
I am.
This poll was not necessary from the way you're talking right now. No, I think it really just depends on the game itself. Which way I go, and like I said, anymore it's really a mixed bag. Back in the day when I was a single player and lone wolf kind of guy, I'd probably say most of the time it was single player. Out the gates, almost 95% of the time. But now it's a complete mixed bag. It just depends.
All right,
I do have one thing I'd like to just throw in real quick.
Go ahead.
One thing I would like to see with the games, considering, and this is going to go into my achievement trophy hunting thing, I would like to see more games do what Crackdown did and separate the lists. One thing I hate the most about these games that have multiplayer and single player campaigns is I'm never going to 100% a Call of Duty because I'm not going to get all those multiplayer achievements. You get what I'm saying? Like, I would like to have that 1,000 list for the single player campaign, and then the 1,000 list or a 500 point list for the multiplayer. That's one thing I think Crackdown nailed good, is Rec Zone had its own list and the campaign had its own list.
Nice. That's funny because that's something that's very small, but it's pretty intuitive, and not a lot of games do it. So cool. Good. Point. Great point. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion, to get your quick point here. Single player first for you, brother, or multiplayer when you're purchasing a game first. If you're going to dive in, which one you diving into?
Dude, multiplayer was the worst thing that ever happened in gaming. No. No. Oh man. Well, it's actually, in my opinion, a double-edged sword because multiplayer is a great thing. It gets us to hang out with our friends, but also we've seen how companies like Activision just try to be, well, we made you a multiplayer game. I thought that's what we wanted, a little bit more innovation than what we got. But anyways, for me, my selection would have been, I'm always a campaign person, single player. Unless when I bought Call of Duty, I will be truthful. I bought Call of Duty to not play the campaign right away. I had some friends that wanted to play Call of Duty, so I just bought the game, fired it up, and went right into the multiplayer. So I guess I have to go with Pong, though. It depends on the game. So, but for me, if there's a choice, I'm a single player kind of person.
Okay. All right. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Like,
so let's go.
You know how much time I've put in ESO. I've never played really too much in the PvP areas of what the hell is it called? ESO, because I just don't want to fight other characters. And then the one thing what Stag said earlier, it's interesting how we're going from 4-man groups to 3-man groups, and I'm almost for 3-man group. Like, I want 3-man groups because I find it easier to get together a 3-man group than a 4-man group. That's one of my biggest shortcomings on ESO in general, is we're always looking for a 4th player, because to do some of the big dungeon runs, you have to have at least 4. And that's where I guess me and the 2 guys I play with on the regular, we get excited when a game does a co-op on 3 players.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, because some people don't have the luxury of having big parties and being able to have a friend list to get together. So it's like that in a lot of the games we play, for sure. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. Get your quick opinion, man. Single player, multiplayer for you first, bro.
Always single player first. I'm pretty much more so like a campaign player or co-op. I don't usually do the PvP stuff. Like, used to play a lot of Dark Zone for like the Division 1. And then they started messing around with the rules and the gear sets and things like that. But yeah, for the most part, whether it's Call of Duty, Forza, pretty much any game I play, I usually wind up doing the story first, get used to the controls, get used to the mechanics of it, and then, dip my toe in the online stuff. But it's more so usually for co-op or PvE stuff, more so than PvP.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Once again, a lot of it and I think that's changed for us over time with the type of games that we all play, the type of games that have been coming out. A lot more of these hybrid games where you're kind of in one world that does everything. You can do co-op in the world, you can do PvP in the world, you can go through and play solo. So it kind of blurs the lines in regard. That was a great warm-up topic chat. Once again, let us know what you guys think about the poll of the week. Every Monday, we talk about it here on the Shop Podcast Saturday. So I appreciate you guys. Shout out to Caitlin. I see you, Victor, Winter Shoulder. Let me just go back up here real quick. Want to make sure I'm showing proper love. Who else was in here that I saw? But if I missed you, I do apologize. But everybody watching live that's not in the chat, appreciate you guys as well. So let's move on to the next topic. So we're going to be talking a little bit of Sony news. So Sony recently essentially reversed course on shutting down the PS3 and PS Vita store. So that was something that a lot of people had asked for. A lot of Sony fans did not like the decision to close it in the first place. It's a bit of a dichotomy, and I kind of went back and forth, Symbol, about this, to be honest. Because on one hand, it makes sense for Sony to do that because their strength is first party, correct? I think we all understand that's what their strength lies. First party new IPs. It makes sense from a business standpoint, but it doesn't, because that's a lot of games that they can, it's a good thing, game preservation. A lot of people value that, and they saw that people actually do value game preservation, and it matters. Even the Sony fans who traditionally, played a big AAA title. So we're going to start with you, Symbol. What do you just think about them reversing course on closing the stores then?
Well, I want to continue what you're saying there too, because I think for a lot of players, when they get upset for this, with them saying that we're going to shut down PS3 and Vita games, I think a lot of it is playing. I think Xbox is playing a role in this conversation right now because so many players have both. Yep. They're looking at Game Pass and how much noise and mind share Xbox has right now out there. And when Sony is doing something that is in negative stance, makes sense business wise, totally. But I think because it paints a negative picture towards their titles, longevity of games, the history of certain titles, people want to be able to have access. And when their players are turning around on the Xbox side going, well, wait a minute, on a very surface level, not getting into the weeds of anything, but very surface level, regular consumer player might just say, hey, Xbox can do it, why can't you? And saying, wait a minute, I can get all my Xbox games. How come PlayStation's taking this away? This sucks. And so on a very surface level, sure. I think that there can be a lot of comparisons, especially with what's been going on lately, where, Xbox was making lots of moves, they make lots of noise, and PlayStation has been relatively quiet. And then they've been quiet, and then we get news like this, which is we're going to remove all these titles from the store. They're done. We're focusing on first party, like you said. I am of two minds of it, because I do, and I think it does come down to, for a lot of people, for personal preference and how you play. I love certain titles, but I know that they also get re-released. And if I truly need or want that game or that set of games on that console, then I probably still have that console. And I will boot up that game. If it's Final Fantasy, if it's old Grand Theft Auto, if it's whatever, like I'm going to boot those games up where I want to play them or find them online. But I get it. I do get it that it's like, oh, hey, I want to bring these things forward. Having a specific collection, even digitally, people don't want to lose these games because they matter, and they should matter to Sony. And I think for a lot of us, we look at it and say, well, it's Sony's history, and they should want to be able to say we're proud of this and we want it kept and safeguarded, and being able to have it for future players, at least keep them there. So I don't know, and I worry when companies like this turn around and they backtrack, because you got bad press and a lot of negative noise coming out, and so you reverse the decision. Well, if you're able to just flip that quickly on it, then why do it at all? Like, if you really needed this to move forward, if you needed to shut this down for a really viable reason, because you needed to move things on and try to get into different space on business side, then move forward with your plan. But to just turn around and go, okay, you didn't like that. Okay, no problem.
So it almost feels deliberate. The same thing with the price hike. With the price hike, with the live price hike, it almost feels deliberate. No, for real. I dead ass was literally going to say the same thing.
We did at the same time.
Yeah, and they did the exact same thing right away. They got way more bad press than Sony was getting for this reversal. Like, Xbox was getting they was getting a brand new butthole ripped that day. Twitter was going crazy, so they did the exact. It almost feels deliberate. Like, well, we'll just see how bad this.
Let's see how bad they'll react to this, and they go, "Oh, that didn't work." Okay,
yeah, no, pull that shit back. Nope. Yeah, exactly. Go ahead. Yeah. I don't want to cut you off.
No, and I agree with you. That was what I was thinking too. Was the Xbox announces the changes in gold, and everyone going, "What in the hell are you doing? What's the matter with you?" They go, "This is playing with you. We won't screw over that bad. Take it back." And Sony's like, but I'm kind of just. I know Sony's making certain moves right now that we're looking at, and we need to be looking at the next 5 years of Sony and PlayStation, because they've been quiet, but when they have spoken, it's all about first party.
Yep.
AAA bangers, like just top tier experiences. And I think that it feels like they are trying to streamline their messaging, their games, their studios, and just be like, we are a AAA first-party machine. Forget the old. It's what's right here. Now, we get things like word of, an Uncharted remaster or a Last of Us remaster. Again, that's a whole other thing. Yeah. But they're trying to keep into the AAA exclusive market. So I don't care for when any of them, Xbox or Sony, are turning around and backtracking on what their plan is. If that's the plan, then you should go with it. Stick with it, good or bad. But what about you guys? What do you think about all of this?
All right, so let's throw this over to since Stag. I mean, you had a great opinion anyway, so we'll go ahead and roll with you, Stag. Just get your opinion on them kind of doubling back on this.
I mean, Sony's all about generations, right?
Here you go.
and like, hey, isn't that old adage of bad press is still good press? Right?
It is. It's press. It's definitely press.
And I tweeted out that it kind of felt like a bait and switch a little bit. I mean, and like, Yeah, Sony's really good at making like AAA walking simulators. I enjoy the games. I have a PlayStation 4 and I have fun with them, but like they definitely have streamlined the experience of their games. I don't agree that you should always just stick with a business plan just because that's the plan you made. Sometimes, I mean, I think businesses definitely have to be fluid and listen to their consumers, or you won't be a business. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Stag, I'm with you. I agree. Like,
no, I don't necessarily 100% disagree with the idea of what you're saying. I just think that fluidity is a good thing.
Yeah, and I think too that, like, it's just how quickly they turn around. I think that's more of what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, there was a lot of backlash for both of them. So.
Yeah.
But I mean, closing the Vita store was fucking dumb. Sure, they're not really supporting it with new and more games, but it's a huge, like, not only is the Vita still hugely popular, the PSP is as well. I'm granted you can't really get new stuff for it unless you buy it from like, Super Rare or Strictly Limited. You know, those companies that are making, physical copies of games for, like the indies and stuff. Because I buy a lot of stuff for my Switch from Super Rare and Strictly Limited that aren't, made by the actual. They're basically a third party publisher, if I don't even know how else to put it. But man, I wish I had a PS3 so I could play some more PS3 games. There's a couple games that I really want to play, but I don't have a PS3, so, and now that store is still open, that when I do acquire a PS3, I'll be able to play it. And then the whole remake thing, like, why are we remaking TLO already? Like, it's like
it already got a remake.
Both companies are following the goddamn my brain just shut off. GTA 5 fucking business marketing plan. We are going to roll this game out 3 generations in a row. Like,
that's crazy.
It just seems like everything is doing fourth party publisher. Is that what it's called, Ashtray? Okay. But it just seems like there's this just big trend of like remake. I mean, and those games aren't even that old. Like, I get remastering and remaking games from, a while ago, but like, geez, a lot of these games that they're doing right now are making, the new, like from last gen and then making them new generation games. It's just like, well, we just played it like in the last 6 years. Come on now. But, like, it's a good thing that they listened to their fan base and kept the PS3 and the Vita store around. I mean, fuck, who doesn't want, I mean, that's money in the bank, right? I can't think that it's costing them more money to keep it up than they're going to make.
Yeah.
Especially if they make it so you can play, like, stream those games, like the PS3 games with PS Now or whatever the fuck one it is. I can never remember if it's PS Now or the other service. Play. What is it?
PS Now.
Plus. I knew it started with a P. I just can never remember. But, sure, whatever. Fucking cool. I still need to get through my PS4 backlog, but yeah, man, I don't really. I'm just gonna keep rambling here. I just think it was a good move to keep your fan base happy, and it we've all seen the tweets. It's one thing that's funny to me about that, though, about the outrage that the Sony fan base had on it, was how many tweets and how much shit have they said about nobody wants to play old games. And then when they said they were shutting down the PS3 store and the Vita store, they're all like, "But old games." It's kind of ironic.
We're gamers are the biggest hypocrites on the planet. So we do that every day. We do that you just log on Twitter at any point in time throughout the day, and you'll see somebody being a big hypocrite. So I'm not surprised about people flip flopping back and forth. We're like leaves blowing in the wind this game. We don't know what we want until we get it. So. But great points, a lot of great points, Stag. I do agree with you on a lot of those points. So a lot of stuff going on over there with Sony. A lot of interesting moves. It definitely felt like it was something that they did ahead of time. Like, we're just going to throw this out there. If we don't get the kind of response that we maybe hope we're going to get, we'll just pull this back because we got something else working on where we're working on anyway. So let's throw this over to you, Centurion. Get your quick opinion on Sony reversing that idea that they were going to close PS3 store as well as the Vita store.
I'm kind of with Stag. It almost feels like it was like a bait and switch. We're just going to create a little bit of a disturbance, get some media press, and pull it back.
It worked.
Yeah, whatever it were, because I also like your reference, man. We talked about raising the price on Xbox Gold, and next thing you know, they were pretty much getting ready to erect barricades over at Microsoft headquarters because they were getting scared of probably maybe some protesters outside, and somehow Sony can come out and be like, yeah, we're going to shut down like 2 storefronts. Yeah, they're old. And like really everybody was unhappy, but I didn't really see the sorry to say, but the death to Sony tweets that, we kind of saw when Xbox tried raising the price on gold. So at this point, I really feel like PlayStation may have pulled a bait and switch. It completely blows my mind into thinking that a company could just shut down a storefront and nobody's going to care. Especially when the Vita itself is almost a cult classic in itself. I mean, it's the last Sony handheld, really, pretty much. It's
a great handheld as well. Both that and the PSP are phenomenal.
Right, and if I'm right, there's even like groups of people on the internet that somehow try to mod these things to where they can continue still playing games and doing stuff and keep them going, where Sony hasn't really done stuff like that. So to think you could just shut down the storefront blows my mind. So I kind of question what their motives were in the first place. Was this totally a PR move?
It could have been. Now, the thing about Sony, and I'm going to throw this over to you, Pong, because I feel like you'll be able to piggyback right off of this. The thing about what Sony did was that I always had an inkling that they weren't going to do that anyway. They just said it just to say it. They're just trying to figure out how the hell do we put this all together in a package. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we put this in a package to not necessarily compete with Gamepass, to make our services feel more attractive? Like, why get rid of, like you said, storefronts when you can potentially package that in with something else? And we know they're building something similar to Gamepass or something in the same vein. So with that in mind, Pong, what do you think about them reversing it? Do you feel like maybe there was some just getting some feedback about how the people feel about this, and we're planning on actually continuing to use these stores and put them in what we're planning for later on?
No, I'm not going to be able to piggyback off of that, because I think this is a delay of the inevitable at this point. Okay. I really do. I think this was a plan all along. And make no mistake, if Sony had not been getting the bad press that they had been getting right before this happened, where people were already starting to question some of the moves that they were making, I don't think that they would have reversed this. Jim Ryan has his marching orders. Sony Corp brought him on to trim the fat. Okay, he is looking at everything that they do, and he is getting rid of what he feels is not necessary or is not showing the profits that he thinks that they should, right? Yeah. He is looking at every aspect of this business. You can see it. That's why the Japan studios closed down. He is simply going through each item down his list and figuring out, yes, we're keeping this. No, we're not keeping this. And that's what he was brought on board to do. Again, he's not the one that's making all the final decisions. A lot of people, again, he's the face. He's the quarterback. They always get more credit than they should when things are going good, and they always get more blame when things are going bad. And that's where Jim Ryan's at. It's not a fun position, but he's getting paid high.
That's a big part of their job, though.
Yep, and he's getting paid highly to do it, right? So that's exactly what it's about. But what I'm saying is he has his marching orders. So I think this was part of the plan. Jim's the type of guy who will just continue with his plan until he gets hit in the face. He is a very straightforward guy. He's a very determined guy. That's smart guy as well. Smart, extremely smart. Again, what he did with the European division during PS4 was incredible. I take no credit from that guy whatsoever. He did what he did, and he dominated in Europe with the PS4. He knows what he's doing. I just think that he just has a plan, and he's bullheaded enough that he's going to go through with it. Now, they had a lot of bad press. He moves forward with this plan, and then all of a sudden here's the backlash and goes, okay. He's smart enough to know, okay, we can't do this right now. Okay, this is too much. I've pushed too far. Let me withdraw a little bit here. He knows that he'll earn some goodwill because people are going to praise just like they did with Xbox when Xbox reversed the decision on the price, the gold price. He knows he's going to earn some goodwill, so it's not a decision that he's going to regret by just pulling back from his plan a little bit and saying, "Okay, fine, let's hold off on this cut right here. I can go find something else to do." And so I think he pulled back and figured it out. Now, what I'd like to see is the community as a whole keep this energy that they had when they were going to close the stores and continue to put pressure on Sony. Not that they're going to do it, because I don't know if they want to spend the money to do it, but they got to keep the pressure on to figure out the backwards compatibility. We got to keep the pressure on as a community to say, look, this is all important to us, that we should be able to play our old games, that we should be able to enjoy them. No matter what generation we are in, as many as possible, we should have access to. And I think that's where the focus should now be, is that keep putting pressure on them to try to come up with a solution for the problem that they especially have with the PS3 and the cell processor games, of keeping them available to everybody down the road. And I think that's the next focus. But I definitely think this was a plan. It was a good decision to pull back. It did earn them some goodwill at a time when they were starting to get some questions. But at the same time, I think down the road, I just don't think it's a viable solution to Jim to keep it going. And again, that's a guess. That's just from the outside looking in at what he's doing, what he's doing overall and where they're trying to take this business. They're tightening the belts is what they're doing. PlayStation they don't have the luxuries. PlayStation is responsible for carrying most of Sony Corp itself. It is the donkey that's carrying all the weight for the most part, besides their insurance over there. But besides that, this is the pillar of business that brings them the bread for all the rest, especially with their movies being decimated. Obviously, that's why they're cutting deals left and right. They're trying to make something out of the movie situation, because those divisions over there, obviously COVID hit everybody. So I think they're just tightening their belts. I think this was a move to do so. I think at the end of the day, we're going to see it come back. They're going to eventually close it down. I mean, that's kind of status quo. They're not going to keep those stores open forever. You saw that they reversed the decision, but they said, no, we are closing the PSP store. So, at the end of the day, we're going to keep everything open. So I think slowly but surely, you'll either see the Vita go away next, and then eventually the PS3 go away as well. It just makes sense from a business standpoint. But again, we got to keep on the pressure. Got to figure out the backwards compatibility, and figure out some type of emulation, whatever that is. And like you said, PTK, I will say this for your comments: if they do have a plan, going forward to have some type of service like Game Pass, to be able to say, okay, this is what we're doing, but we figured out our emulation situation for the PS3 games especially, and those are all going to be available in the catalog. We're going to offer those also as part of this service. Would be a huge deal. That would be a huge value added to whatever kind of service they are going to come up with that is kind of their Game Pass. So I think it is important. It's just whether or not they want to spend the money and the time and the R&D to do it. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Okay. All right. Great point. So it's tough to piggyback, man, because a lot of great points, man. So a lot of good things there. But let's go ahead and get to Fuzz real quick. Get your opinion here, man, on some of the things Pong said just about where Sony's at. Me and you've talked a lot offline, in party chats about some of the things that Sony's done. We've talked about Jim Ryan specifically because he is, essentially the head there. He's more of the face, but let's get your general opinion on where you're at with the reversal.
Well, as a former Sony-only guy from the PS3 era, going into the early days of the PS4, I'd kind of given up on them doing the whole backwards compatibility. I kept my PS3. Say it wasn't possible. Yeah, well, it's possible because you can emulate PS3 games on the what do you call them? The Xbox Series X and S. So it's possible. Whether they want to do it, that's the other story. But the thing about it is, they didn't want to do the backwards compatibility of the PS3 onto the PS4. I wound up hanging on to my PS3 to play, MotorStorm and Resistance Fall of Man and things like that on it still. And then I eventually gave it as a gift to one of my sons that wanted to play NCAA what was it, 14 or something like that? Like the last,
the last one, 14.
Game. So and that game is actually like people are a little hesitant to buy $70 games. That thing cost me $80.
Yeah, I've seen some of those copies of NCAA for $100, $120.
So the closing of the store, I figure at this point, the only people that are buying those games are the ones that are more so into retro only, or they have the newer console and then they also play on retro consoles as well. Outside of that, I don't think there's enough people buying anything from those stores to keep them open. Hence why they were closing them. And they'll keep the Vita and the PS3 store open. And like Pong said, they're going to eventually close it. It may not be tomorrow, it may not be next month, but a year, 2 years from now, it's definitely going bye-bye, or it's somehow getting merged or rolled into the back corner of the normal PS Plus store or whatever the case may be. I mean, it's great to see fans get, upset and vocalize, their displeasure with the company's decision, but they could have probably put it to better use on areas that are more problematic, like the SSD expansion on the PS5. That would have made more sense because I'm already out of space of games. And yes, the easy solution is delete the games and download them again. I'm not going through that. But then, in any event, them reversing on the store closing, like Pong said and a few others that said earlier, the bad press that they had ahead of time, and it just seems like they can't do anything right. And you got the press, saying, "Oh, PlayStation didn't, do anything to keep me as a customer." Yet now we're back to talking about sales numbers, and I'll spend $70 day one on a game because I want it to be a sequel to be made. It was just something that they had to do to kind of quiet the negative. And now they're back into their normal news cycle with Returnal coming out in a couple of days, and the number of consoles sold, the number of Miles Morales sold, and things like that. But for everybody that bought Miles Morales, if you're upset about them closing the PS3 store, go buy a PS3 game. I dare you. But I honestly think it was a waste of time. It was waste of energy on the gamer side because, like I said, very few, if any, of those that were vocal are going to buy a PS3 game. And it was, there's so many other things that the consumers should be pushing Sony to focus on as opposed to the PS3 store, which wasn't a big to do in the PS4 generation. Why is it all of a sudden a big to do in the PS5 generation?
And Fuzz, I was wondering this too, because PS Plus has in the range of 40 million subscribers,
something like that, around 30, 40.
And I'm with you because it is a very small sector of their entire market that is vocalizing their displeasure with shutting this down. Their hardcore fan base, yes. The people that are most passionate, that buy the products the most, that are engaged the most in your communities and everything. But from Sony's side and Jim Ryan's side, like you guys are saying, it's trim the fat. It's looking at it on paper going, well, I've got this store, I got this online infrastructure that we're paying X to maintain upkeep. How many users are actually, to your point, how many users are clicking this to get this game, to download the stuff? Or when we put out older titles on PlayStation Plus, how many of our active subscribers are actually clicking, downloading, playing these games, and for how long, and all of that? So they got to be looking at this going, look, guys, you're in the maybe hundred thousands out of the millions that are upset. Maybe not, but on paper, he's got to be looking at, well, this is how many average downloads we're getting, users, etc. on these stores. It doesn't make any sense financially when this is what's driving our overall number the most. It's the next big titles that are coming out. And that's why I think, to your point, like it's going to happen, and it's going to be just a matter of time.
I can agree. Before we move on, just to put a stamp on what you just said, great point to symbol. It essentially, like you said, it's one of those things that it doesn't really. So, and a lot of it has to do with Xbox, because all of the good faith and goodwill Xbox has been getting about game preservation, you got people looking over the fence like, well, what the hell's going on, Sony? Like, well, why aren't you getting this same goodwill? So I think a lot of it's that as well. A lot of it's just the pressure, the positive pressure Xbox has put on Sony by getting so much goodwill game preservation, Game Pass. It's such a good service for everybody, whether it be a gamer all the way through to the publisher. So I think a lot of that's just pressure and noise from Xbox too, because it's such a good service, and saving games is such a noble thing that like you can't help but get excited about it. So, but we'll see what Sony does going forward. But let's go ahead and move on to the next topic, man. Great chat. We're moving things along here. So great segue right into Game Pass. Now, I do want to go over one thing quick here. So Xbox did announce that they finally, made it able. They removed the free-to-play games from behind the wall as far as party chat, looking for group, which is amazing. Obviously, I think Xbox Live is going away as well, as once they hit the magical number with Game Pass. That brings me to the actual topic, which is Game Pass being at 23 million plus subscribers at this current point, where 3-4 months ago they were at 18, 19, somewhere along those lines. So where are you at on this? They're growing. Game Pass is growing faster, Assemble, than I even imagined. Because I was thinking maybe if they can do 25 mil by the end of this year, that's a great year. They're going to do 25 mil probably the end of May. So considering that, were you surprised to see that it was 23 mil already? And do you think that just Game Pass is just going to be the biggest thing probably in gaming for the foreseeable future?
Hey, PTK, before we continue, I just got to throw this out there. There has been a small correction. Jez came out.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Jez came out today and said where he got that number from was some documentation that he has in regards to Game Pass, but he read one of the numbers wrong. It wasn't 23 million. So both him and Rand last night on Xbox Ultimate with us both talked about it as well. It's probably between 21 and 22 right now.
Okay.
So it's still a great number, but the 23 number was something that Jez read wrong. He put out a apology on Twitter to Special Ed because Special Ed had reported 22, and Jez came over the top and said 23. So
somewhere we're in the ballpark.
Yeah, and Rand thinks when they do the reporting, when they've got their nest, if they because the investor when they have their next investor meeting, if they talk about the Game Pass numbers, what he's saying is that's through March. So he thinks they'll probably report to the investors at 21. He thinks it's somewhere a little bit above 21, approaching 22 right now, but it's only through the end of March. So we'll probably hear a 21 million number. So just to put that out there. All
right. Well, no, nothing wrong with that. But the service is growing. They've been doing about $1 million a month, somewhere in that range. So essentially it's still growing a lot. I'm still excited. Either way, once again, I didn't get that information, so shout out to you. Thank you, Pong, for letting us know that as well. We don't edit anything, so I'm gonna leave that in. But anyway, either way, Assemble, the service is growing, and year over year, it's growing. It's getting better. It's getting bigger. Everybody's getting more excited, more energy behind it. So where are you still at, just with the growth? Maybe not 23 as we've seen or we just heard, but still at just with the general growth.
It's phenomenal. Like I'm someone who has both consoles. I love my PlayStation, and right now I really love my Xbox because of just Game Pass consistently growing. I'm a big fan of MLB The Show. Having that on the Xbox side for the first time ever is big. I think it's a massive win. It's huge growth. It's huge growth with all. Now, keep it in mind, like when Game Pass first launched in 2017, I want to say. When it first started rolling out,
or 17,
it was very bare bones. That was my opinion, my feedback. I was like, okay, cool service, try it out. But I'm like, it's 100 titles or something. It's got the Halo Master Chief Collection and Gears. I was like, okay, I guess that's about it. We have seen this thing grow exponentially, and great moves being done by Xbox. At least I think so. Getting this to grow to the point where it is at reaching 20 million already. And when I look at PlayStation Plus, not that they're the same service, they are different, but looking at, for gamers in general, a subscription model of I can pay this annual thing on PlayStation. It started back in 2010 and they're at 40 million users on PlayStation side, getting your discounted titles and 2 games per month. Xbox Game Pass is 3 years old and it's already at half of the subscriber base. If you're just looking at gaming subscription service models, I think the number's crazy, and I think that they are going to be going down this path of the Xbox is less important, and it's going to be Game Pass is everything they want anybody talking about, and getting it on iOS, getting it for xCloud, expanding that, getting it more into PC, as well as being able to get it on more smart devices, getting it as that app on your TV, and people to be able to just jump in and go. I think the number is just going to keep growing, because they're not just going to be getting that number growing from 20 million to 30 million just from the console market, right? It's just being able to have someone with their phone, and you have the mobile market that you want to be able to tap. A PC market that is probably less tapped, but for Xbox, with Epic Games and Steam and things like that. And for them to just keep growing like at this rate, I don't know, though. I really wanted to know what you guys thought about the overall cost. I think of where Game Pass could be down the road, because holding it at Ultimate for like $20 a month, I don't think they could keep this going in the long term. But yeah, I think overall, I think it's fantastic, and I can see them definitely getting down to that 30 mil in, a couple of years, 2 years time.
Yeah. Or even sooner than that. Sooner than that. This is all without any first-party big games dropping.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, right? Is that we don't have any of those big hitters, and everyone will come out to say, yeah, Xbox has no games. And I go, well, my PS5 is kind of cold. Like, to be honest, I'm kind of sitting around wanting something for my PlayStation, and I just feel like I'm constantly having things to be able to drive me towards Xbox, to turn that on. And maybe it is some old games, but maybe it is Outriders, maybe it's MLB The Show. But there's so many options in there for me to choose, to me wanting to be in that ecosystem more. And that's their plan. And that's the ultimate goal, is keep me in there as long as possible. And they're doing that, at least for me. So I think that they can totally get this to 30 mil very, very quickly.
Okay. All right. And I think we'll see a big jump, obviously, this fall with Halo coming out with some of the bigger games, the big titles dropping. You're going to have some deals, holiday season, so a lot of things can happen.
PTK, that is one thing I'll just say before you flip it over is, I think I said this on one of my shows the other day about Xbox. I feel that because everything's been quiet on Xbox for first party, like where are the Xbox titles? Where's my new Forza Horizon? Halo, we're talking Christmas time. I feel that because there's so many studios that are within the world of Xbox now, that things get kicked off with Halo, and fingers crossed it's successful for them, that it is the game they need it to be, to draw in even more users, engagement, everything. But I think Halo kicks that off to really bring fans in or bring players back. And then you see this rolling effect of brand new Bethesda titles coming out, and all of these other studios just start dropping these games that we know about that are coming, but we're waiting. And I think Halo triggers it. That's just what I think.
No, I agree. And I think just about everybody on this panel would agree with you as far as Halo being that first stopgap, that first, what Game Pass really is. Like, how can Game Pass be utilized to its maximum? So I think Halo is going to showcase that, hopefully, like you said, if it is the game that they want it to be, and we are hoping for. So we'll see down the line, man. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. Get your opinion, man, on just the success of Game Pass in general. So obviously the numbers are kind of back and forth there. We don't have anything solid, so I do apologize for that, chat. But just the success, it's still been a huge success either way.
Well, it's one of those things where you're going to continue to get people that are going to downplay the numbers on Game Pass. Oh, they just signed up for $1, or these are the people that tested it and probably canceled. But I think in the grand scheme of things, we can all kind of agree that it's just going to continue to grow as Microsoft keeps on, I won't say throwing money at it, but investing in the growth of Game Pass in general. They're going to continue to get these third-party exclusives day and date, or at least try to. We're going to continue to get the AA day and dates, throughout the year as well, and a lot of the indie titles and things like that mixed in there. But overall, I would say to go from the 18 that they reported in January to being anywhere between 20 and 23 mil range now. They're averaging better than $1 million a month, and like Assemble had just touched on, we haven't even gotten to the first party yet, which my feeling is, well, I agree on, like, once Halo comes out, that's going to be the floodgates of, every 3 to 4 months, there's either going to be a new game from first party or new DLC, additional content, maybe some episodic stuff coming for one of the other titles, or expansions and things like that. So every 3 to 4 months after Halo hits, I think we're going to see something from Xbox or ZeniMax / Bethesda Studios in that cadence from that point going forward. But as far as the amount of players, I think it's going to help shape the market or reshape the market to some extent. A lot of people have talked about Microsoft being like this market disruptor with this whole new series. The guy that's in third place, it's helping, or not helping, but making waves and kind of changing the landscape as far as gaming in general. I think at this point, PlayStation is going to need to do something, whether it's that Movie Pass thing that leaked, although it didn't seem like that made too much noise as far as on the Sony crowd. But just the sheer number of people that are subscribed is going to help Microsoft bring more games to us, and hopefully that price stays reasonable. Like, I expect the price to go up once Ubisoft is added in there, but if they can keep it somewhere between the 15 to 20 range for Ultimate, or possibly do like a family plan. Like I said, I got two twin boys, each of them with their own Series S, each of them with their own gaming rig. I have my Series X, and I'm going to eventually have a gaming rig, and it'd be nice to be able to have multiple, Game Pass on PC
accounts on under one umbrella.
Yeah. And if it winds up being $30 a month for 4 gamer tags being associated with that account, I'm fine with that. But overall, I think this thing is going to continue to grow, and who knows, by the time they get to E3, whatever announcements they make and possibly some shadow drops, it's like, oh, available for download today or next week or whatever, you'll probably see that number jump up again. So before this holiday, I definitely think they're going to be above the 25 mil mark, maybe even closer to the 30 mil mark come holiday. But yeah, it's great to see. For the detractors, I ask, do they detract on Spotify or even PS Now for that matter? Although I think PS Now is only claimed about 2 mil or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
But nobody really complains or questions the 100 mil of Disney, or was it probably 200 and some odd million people for Netflix. So just if it's not the service for you, ignore it. If it is a service that you're interested in, then partake in it. And if you can get a deal, whether it be through EA cards or whatnot, enjoy. But yeah, right now it's a pretty good deal, especially for those like me with have a couple of kids and don't want to have to buy individual titles. And especially, you could game share, but when you got more than 2 people, game share doesn't work anymore. But this kind of makes it easier to do game share and Game Pass, and at worst buy that additional title if need be. But a family plan would be tremendous.
Ideal.
Going.
All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Stag. Get your quick opinion just on the success of Game Pass. I mean, we talk about it fairly often, more so recently because it's just been in the news in 2021 a lot more. They've hit a lot of milestones. They've done a lot of cool things. A lot of firsts. Getting that first big third-party AAA game, then getting MLB The Show. So a lot of good things going on. So just where you at with the growth and where they're at.
Man, when are they gonna start giving away free mac and cheese? That's what I really want to know.
Shout out to Chris.
But,
he's responsible for that. Anyway.
Man, no, Game Pass is a good thing. It's a good move for consumers. It's a good business move. I mean, we see tons of subscription services out there. It's not just gaming. And we all already know that if Sony would have done that and done day and date, it would have been the best thing since sliced bread. And when they finally do put day and date in whatever service they want to call it, y'all are going to love it. Why wouldn't you? Rich people don't stay rich by spending all their money. You know what I mean? You don't generate wealth by blowing your money on $70 titles. But man, it's just Game Pass is great. Putting really good titles in there for day one, making it really good for your customer base, and it's a great attractor to your product to be like, hey, for $15 a month, there's like 200 to 300 games, and oh, by the way, we own all these studios, and they're all making games, and they're all going into Game Pass day one. I mean, that just sucks as a person that likes to play on Xbox. I should just get rid of my Xbox and switch to PlayStation and never go back. I don't get the logic that Game Pass isn't a good thing. Like, they're doing good things. It's good for the consumer, and like, man, I know I'm probably getting off topic here, but it's been great. Is the number 21 million? Is it 23? Is it 25? I mean, we don't know the exact number because Microsoft is the way they are about the numbers and stuff like that. But I don't see how Game Pass is a bad thing for consumers or gamers, like, or even devs. Devs have come out continually and said, like, we were selling good, and then we put our game in Game Pass and we sold amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, putting a game in Game Pass doesn't mean you're renting the game. Sure, you might be renting it for that moment, but if you like it, guess what? You can buy it for a discount and you own that game. Sure, it's digitally, and you can argue that, oh, you don't really own digital games because you don't have a physical copy, but that's a whole nother conversation, obviously.
It's not the same conversation.
But like, man, honestly, right now, neither next gen console has given me a reason to jump. I just wanted to jump on the Xbox Series X. You know what I mean? Like, it looks amazing. Fuck, I don't even have my Series X hooked up to the 4K TV in the house. I got the S hooked up to that shit for my kid. It's bullshit. I go downstairs and he's playing on. I'm just like, dude, that looks so good. Like, that was the only reason for me to jump up this gen right now for either system, was because of how good the games look, and like, sure, we don't have the flashy AAAs or whatever, but the games still look amazing. Like, I go downstairs and I watch my kid playing Forza. It's freaking mind-blowing how good Forza Horizon 4 looks on a 4K TV on the Series S. And like, he plays Outriders and I play Outriders up here. He's playing Outriders in Game Pass. I own the game, but I also have it in Game Pass. So yet again, Game Pass users buy games, but dude, it looks so much better on the next gen. Like, but we're not talking next gen, but Game Pass is great. Like, it gave so many people an opportunity to play MLB The Show day one, which, hey, thanks MLB for making that multi-plat. It is kind of weird though, I will say, like, seeing when you boot that game up, like the Sony logo. That part's a little weird, but like, man, giving gamers more opportunities to expand their horizons and play a wide variety of games for $15 a month. I don't understand how that's a bad thing. I don't understand.
It's not.
Anybody wouldn't like that as an option. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit, fuck Netflix. I only want 3 movies for $15 a month, and I don't want to watch all those goddamn shows. You know what I mean?
It's an archaic way of thinking. No, we don't actually even think
B-movie fillers.
Yeah, we don't. Most people, we don't. So people will go on Twitter and say that, but we don't actually think that way. So we all got a Netflix, Disney Plus subscription. So we're once again.
Well, and if if you don't like Game Pass, MLB The Show is $70 on the Series X as well. It's a $70 title on both next gen systems. It's $60 on old. Just throwing that out at chat. Yeah. It's $70 on PS5 and it's $70 on the Series X. I bought the $100 version because I wanted the Jackie Robinson. Sorry, I always for some reason do that. I wanted the Steelbook. You know what I mean? So I bought the game. I pre-ordered it months ago. Like, this whole freaking argument that like Game Pass users don't buy games is nonsensical.
But it also gets us in there, right? To buy like for the show. I'll get it on Game Pass because, I don't have the time and the funds to just buy every game. So when I'm like, well, I'll get it on my Series X. I would have gotten on PlayStation because I love it playing it over there. But here I go. And I'll buy player packs.
Dude, I've been playing.
You're gonna get my money.
The show since 2007. I played it on the PSP first. I played it on my PS4. I mean, I didn't have a PS3. I had a PS2 and a PS1. I love the show. It's a great series. I supported it before it came to Xbox, but now that it's on the Xbox, on the controller and the system I prefer as my main, I'm happy. You know, I have a ton of PlayStation games. Shit, I just got Poison Control. I don't know what the hell's going on in the game, but it's pretty and fun.
Hey, my wife was happy when I turned around. I was like, "Hey, I was going to spend $70 on the show, and now I don't have to." She said, "Good. What's the show?" And I said, "Don't worry."
You mean you can buy more groceries? You can save for your future. You can buy extra mac and cheese. I mean, there's so many options you could spend that $70 on. But excuse me, that $55 because you got to pay your $15 a month.
And everything is going subscription.
No,
paywall,
and honestly, there's too many subscriptions out there. There's not enough money to go around for all the subscription services, especially like the TV channels and the movie ones, and just all these different people are like, I want my slice of the pie. There's just not that many slices out there, so they're all going to have to start teaming up again. So
we'll see.
Different.
We'll see what happens, but let's go ahead and get this over. We got two more here before we move on to this last topic. So, Pong, just quick, man, just your just where Game Pass is at, brother, and all the growth, and just it's at some point it's just going to be inevitable. People are just going to have to deal with the fact that it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's already to that point where you can't ignore it anymore. Devs, publishers, consumers, it doesn't matter. You can't ignore Game Pass at this point. The growth without any first-party AAA titles is absolutely incredible. It's phenomenal. It's out of this world. There's nothing to describe it that it's maintained this pace, and actually over the past last part of last year and into this year is actually increasing. That's that momentum, right? That's that snowball effect. That's what happens because word of mouth is spreading. People are finding out about the value that's in Game Pass. More people are looking at it and saying, what is Game Pass? Oh, wow, wait, they got almost 400 games in here? Oh, look at this. I want to try this game. I want to try this game. I want to try this game. I've already paid for my year subscription just between those three games, and there's another 380 to go. Holy cow, right? That's what you're seeing right now. And with the money and the resources that Microsoft are putting into Game Pass, it's growing exponentially. This number here is phenomenal. We could see, I think personally, if the dominoes fall and we get Forza Horizon 5, which is now looking more and more likely, we get Starfield and we get Halo for holiday 2021. We get those, let's say September, October, November, one a month. You're talking about easy, as long as the consoles are available, and let's say that they, finish off upgrading these server blades. So xCloud is even better than it is now, and they continue to perfect that. They get the apps on the TVs, which they're talking about by the end of the year here. If everything falls right, I think you could easily, rolling into 2022, you could see 35 to 38 million. I don't see that as an undoable number. I think you'd be well into the 30s, by that point, if everything hits right. And again, that's a big if. We still got a lot of COVID going on. We still got a lot of other stuff we got to figure out. So, but you could project that out easily. You could project out coming into 2023 if all that happens, and then next year all these it's pretty insane when you think about it, because we're just talking about no AAAs to this point. We get 3 for holiday 2021, then let's say we get 4 AAAs next year, bare minimum, plus third-party publishing deals, plus indie developer deals, which we know we've got 20 of them already this year, somewhere around that day. Okay, so let's say Microsoft is in a growth phase, so we can assume they're going to continue to spend like this. We could see 2023 rolling into 2023 with 60 million subscribers. Okay. And then all bets are off. It's over with. Okay. They will have the perfect setup as far as the market control goes, the mind share goes, where then you're looking at the Netflix numbers, right? You're looking at the Disney Plus numbers, and you're going, okay, that is now doable. Like when Game Pass first started, people downplayed all the comments about how Phil, Satya and Microsoft and Xbox were going after the 3 billion gamers out there. But once you hit those numbers, then you really start looking at it. Okay, there is not a number big enough to stop this if they get everything lined up, which they look like they're doing with mobile, with the mobile side of things, with the console side of things, with the PC side of things, and with TVs thrown in there and everything else. There really is no number big enough to say that they can't make it at that point. Just from the simple fact that people are going to continue to spread that word. The mind share is grabbed at that point, and it's over with. Again, as long as they can continue to put out content, that's the only thing that can trip them up is content. If you don't have the content, you will fail in this kind of service. But if you continue to invest in the content and you continue to put out enough content that satisfies a broad, wide-ranging group of people, hey, you're almost unstoppable. Everybody's going to be looking, anybody trying to come into this service then is going to be looking at the secondary service level. Like, okay, well, we know Game Pass is king. We're just going to come to try and eke out whatever we can, whether that's Sony, whether it's Nintendo down the line, whoever, whether it's Amazon comes in with Luna. Nobody's going to be able to stop what Microsoft has going on, Xbox has going on. It is going to be the Netflix of gaming. It's a bad. I don't like the analogy completely because there's more to Game Pass than just what Netflix does. There's a huge market in there. We're talking about DLC. We're talking about all that stuff. But Game Pass becomes the king of the services, and nobody will be able to touch them unless Microsoft really screws it up and comes out and says, oh, by the way, we're raising the price to $40 a month. Okay, that's the only way they could trip themselves is by trying to increase the price exponentially or too fast. They're going to have to do incremental increases down the road, like Netflix does. But as long as they don't do that, as long as they've got the plan in place, they've got the service built. It's over with.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and throw this over to Centurion here real quick, and we'll wrap this topic up with you, Centurion, and we'll move on to this last one and get the show wrapped up. So where you at, man, with Game Pass, bro?
I liked when a symbol said when we first got Game Pass, it was a little sparse. I was totally unimpressed when I first looked at the library. I was not a buyer of Game Pass or the concept probably for the first year. I bought Sea of Thieves day one. I bought State of Decay 2, the Ultimate Edition, physical day one. So for a while there, it took a little bit of convincing for me. And once I got into Game Pass, I haven't looked back. I mean, it's really honestly a good service. Man, it's really hard to, when you hear people make the argument that you don't own your games. We've seen instances where even if you have the physical copy, the game doesn't work anyways. So that's where I just feel like it's such a good value that you shouldn't really turn it down. I mean, who doesn't want to save money? The product is speaking for itself. I mean, how do you gain that many followers that quickly? Or followers, that many subscribers. Honestly, it's good to see that Xbox has definitely kind of, I don't want to say righted the ship, but definitely found their niche when it comes to gaming.
Yeah, no, I agree. 100%. It's such a thoughtful service, and I think that's a big thing with Game Pass is it covers so many bases from the consumer, which is us, all the way to the dev and the publishers. Everyone enjoys it. Everyone benefits from it. It doesn't short anyone. So literally, I'm not going to say it's perfect because absolutely not, but it's such a thoughtful, well-rounded service. And and the fact that its base, its value it's a very important thing that I don't think we should or just kind of gloss over.
Right. And I like what Stagger just said in the chat. He saw the potential day one. I'll be upfront. I didn't. Raise your hand if you saw. Could you ever thought third-party games would want to be going into Game Pass day and date? Did you really see Game Pass getting the traction that it did as quickly as it did?
Well, I mean that's something that I didn't necessarily see coming as well. Now I don't have the vision. I didn't know exactly what they were trying to accomplish with Game Pass when we first heard about it. Obviously, you hear another service. Okay, that's cool. More games. That's always good. Obviously,
I'm just talking like, and this goes to anybody here, chat or on the panel here. Let's really think about, we've seen Destiny come back into good, I don't want to say good graces, but start working side by side with Microsoft again, Bungie. All of a sudden, we've got the Destiny DLC being put in Game Pass. We're having third-party games put in there day and date. Microsoft bought out Bethesda, and as a result, because they wanted to fuel Game Pass, I mean, I will be honestly 100% truthful. I could never fathom that Game Pass would fuel Microsoft to do some of the things that they've done.
No, that's a good point. No, that's a great point. So it's going to continue to get bigger, going to continue to grow. If any, I mean, listen, at this point, it is what it is. It's not going away. So if you're a detractor and you're like, well, I don't really understand, and well, I mean, go, you have other options. There's no lack of options as far as other systems and games you can go play. So let's move on to this last topic. I want to make sure I get to the symbol. I know you only had about 90 minutes, I believe. So I want to make sure you at least get your answer in before, even if you got to leave just a little bit early before we wrap things up. So last thing just wanted to talk about, and it's kind of a culmination of all of the topics we've talked about thus far, is essentially this golden age of gaming that we're entering with Sony, with Xbox, with Nintendo, where everybody's firing on all cylinders. Nintendo's in a really good space right now from a financial standpoint, from a creative standpoint. The Switch is selling like crack in the 80s. The goddamn, Sony's in a great spot. Obviously, all Sony has to do is just do what they do well, and they'll be fine. And then Xbox, being the big innovator they are, being a forward-thinking company they are, where all these companies are operating out of good spaces. It seems like they have little stumbles here and there, and that's going to continue to happen. But we could literally see a golden age of gaming. And I know some people hate that term, but really we can see these companies put out probably some of the best games any of us have ever played. So we'll start with you, Symbol, on just where we're going with all these companies hitting their stride.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm always curious about where will we be long term? Where will we be when? And a lot of us have kids here too, young kids. Yeah. So I'm like, where are my kids going to be with gaming in 20 years? Is it going to look vastly different? Is it going to be similar? Is it a subscription-based service platform where everything is just online, like very similar to what we have just now, but just optimized? I think everyone will look back at their generation to go, well, I had, it was Genesis and it was my Nintendo and that was the best. Everyone's going to have their piece to play with. What's really cool right now is seeing so much of that past history from whether it be Nintendo or Xbox or Sony, bringing certain titles, and keeping them going. And Nintendo, is good or bad because they charge for games we've played and they charge full price. But it keeps those games alive. And I get to turn on Mario Kart and play that with my kids. And that's cool. And I think that not always just for the games, but it's just what they allow us to do as well. Certain titles will always stand out. But it's and they would be like, oh yeah, I loved that. I loved the Uncharted series. For me, that defined like a generational PlayStation for me. If people have their games on Xbox too, if it's Halo, if it's Gears, whatever. I think that we could be seeing that right now because in 15, 20 years, maybe it's all just smash bundled together because we're talking about subscription services from all these developers, EA, Ubisoft, Bethesda going under Xbox. Like it could all just get under one giant umbrella where then none of that matters and it is less to do with the box, and we're even seeing that today, and it's just more about the platform that it's on. And it could be the golden age of it and starting to walk into it because we have devices in our homes, so we're using controllers for it, and we have just this insane library and back catalog and multiple options of different. And you never know where just any of them are going to be. Where's Nintendo going to be in 20 years? Still kicking strong with Mario? We don't know. But I think it's just going to be really cool to see what we got. And there's no shortage of options like you guys are saying. That's really, really great for gamers everywhere. Because if you're like, I don't like Xbox, I don't like Game Pass with the whole good value thing, I'm against it. I want my $70. You go, great, then you can go do that on PC. Or I hate this consoles, I play PC. I'm like, then you got PC. And I want linear, I want platformers. I'm like, you got Mario. And you got Nintendo for you. So everyone is winning and just being able to do certain things, and even more so on mobile. Because we look at a North America market, And if you look at overseas, the handhelds are huge, and it's all the phones.
Yeah.
And that is massive. And Xbox, with everything on phones and getting iOS up to date, and Android going, it's huge for their international market to be able to play games on their phones. And I don't know, but I think there's so much to enjoy, and we should be looking at the positives of it versus getting worked up on subscription models and what moves the companies are making. It's just having fun.
Exactly. And that's really to put a bow tie on, obviously everything we've been talking about. At the end of the day, the golden age to me is just, we've always had options, but the stuff, just the trial, the stuff we're just seeing in the early stages, the trial stuff right now that we're kind of have been going through is just so exciting going forward, and seeing these companies all hitting their stride, not necessarily at the same time, but within the same, generation, is something that, we've been at this spot before, but I just don't, we've never seen this Xbox before. We've never seen Sony doing some of the things they're doing. Hell, we've never even seen Nintendo operating, doing some of the things they're doing. We've seen some very one-off things this generation already, that we haven't seen from previous ones. So it's going to be a beautiful ride. So buckle up. But let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong, real quick. Just get your opinion on we talk about this. I actually stole this. I stole this from you, Pong. I'll be honest. I stole this directly from you. I'm sorry, I didn't pay you. You're not gonna get a check. I'm just playing. But no, you brought this up probably one of your second show here, or second time on the podcast. So where you at with that?
Yeah, absolutely. It is a term I've been using for a while. Obviously, it's a term that's thrown around a lot and has been in the past as well. And we can talk about the previous generations. But what I see and why I use that is that there has never been a time in history when it comes to video games that the entire industry as a whole has been more healthy. We have seen the biggest influx of new player bases that we've never seen this kind of movement before. Now, how much of it sticks and how much of it was just due to COVID and that kind of situation, we'll see. But we all know as gamers that once you start gaming, you usually, if you have a good time, it's something that you will go back to, right? It's something that has started to replace movies and TV. I find myself as I get older, I used to be a huge movie buff. I'm staring at 500 plus DVDs and Blu-rays right now on my shelf. I used to be a huge movie buff, a huge TV guy. Right now, at this point in my life, I'd rather game if I have the free time. I'd rather go and be interactive with my entertainment as a gamer than I would to watch a TV show or to watch a movie that's going to end after a couple of hours. So I think we're going to find out that a lot of people that have been introduced to this are now sticking around. And a lot of that has to do with the diversity of gaming that's happening right now as far as the different types of games that are available and what is being played. Plus, there is a maturation that's happening in society that is taking away the stigmas of gaming. It used to be a negative thing that was looked down upon.
That's a good point.
I'm the old school, man. I started on Pong, right? I've been gaming for 40 years plus. I went through the bullying years, right? Where it was absolutely, oh, nerd, oh, whatever, you loser. You're playing your video games. Is that what you do? But all that garbage is gone for the most part. Yeah, we still have some of it out there, but society as a whole is more accepting as gaming as an actual, form of entertainment that everybody can do, no matter what your age is, no matter what your experience level is. You can sit down and find a game for you. And obviously, with streaming, with all the stuff going on, with all these podcasts blowing up and stuff, it shows you that people more than ever are willing to say, hey, you know what? Let me try something that I've never tried before. Let me try this gaming thing. So again, all of this plays into the fact that we have more people interested in this, which means more money than has ever been seen. Plus, now we're seeing places like companies like Xbox think outside the box, embrace new ideas like a streaming service to give even more people the potential to find a game. Because again, not everybody can afford $70 per game prices, $100 in some countries. That's that is taking the industry in the wrong direction. That's putting it out of reach for a lot of people. So Xbox has come in and filled in the backside saying, hey, we've got a streaming service, $15 a month. Yeah, we know you got a lot of other streaming services that you guys use, but we're going to give you access to all this entertainment that is going to give you thousands of hours, depending on how many games you're going to touch, for $15 a month. That is something that a lot of people can budget in. That is a huge deal. Whereas before we used to buy maybe, if again, I go back to my kid, my childhood days, I was lucky to get four games a year, one for the major holidays and then one for my birthday, right? And I was lucky. Otherwise, I was renting from Blockbuster. Well, what's renting from Blockbuster? Paying a monthly fee, basically. That's all it was. But now we just have access to so much more. And then to top it off, accessibility from the standpoint that we're going to be able to play these games with a mobile phone through xCloud or, through an app on our TV without ever having to go out and make the commitment and the purchase of a, $400, $500, $300 console. And so that means people are going to be willing to download that app and say, hey, let me give this a go. And if they decide all of a sudden that they are a gamer, then they can go make the extra purchase and buy a console if they choose to. If not, so be it. If they have a PC at home, they're going to be able to stream games through their PC. All of this is lending to what I've been calling for is the golden age of gaming. We're going to see more content because more investment is being made. Again, it's all big business. At the end of the day, we're playing games for fun and entertainment, but these companies would not be here if it was not making money. No question about it. If it wasn't a money maker, we would not see what we're seeing right now. But in this time and space, it is a moneymaker, so the companies are happy to invest into it, and we as consumers are reaping the benefits right now. And you put all that together with all these brand new experiences. We have more people making games than ever before. We've got all these brand new talented devs coming up. Indie devs have access to technology like Unreal and like Unity that they never had access before. They can create, we're seeing single person devs make incredible looking experiences like Song of Iron as just one example. Joe is putting out something that, just years ago might have taken a team of, 10, 15 people. He can do it by himself now. All of this put together means that we are seeing the golden age of gaming, what I believe is the golden age of gaming, and we are all in for a treat. Period.
Absolutely. Well put, man. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you. Stag, just get your quick opinion on, just where things are going. I mean, obviously we all play games for, fun, essentially just for excitement, for fun, because we respect the hobby, we enjoy it as well. But just kind of where you at, just going forward, you kind of happy with the direction things are going?
Pong said it great.
Oh, okay. If you don't have much to say, bro, we'll keep it pushing. We'll keep it moving then. So
I smell dinner. My brain is shut off. Like my
it's
wife
all
is
good.
And it smells so good. She said steak tacos, and I'm smelling it. So
yeah.
Oh man, games are great. Let's play them. I love all the options. I play on everything, and yeah, let's do it. Next person.
I feel you. All right, let's do it. Fuzz, it's on you, bro.
Yeah, for the most part, I guess it only sucks for PC guys if they haven't already picked up their video card or CPU yet. So outside of that, hardware, software, this is like the pinnacle, basically. I mean, there are games to play on all platforms. If you're just looking for first party stuff, yeah, some are lacking or the timing at this point in time, but there's plenty of stuff to play, and the hardware is as good as it's going to get. Like now we have consoles. Yeah, they're not on par with the top end of PCs, but they're pretty darn close. And compared to what most people have that are not the PC elite enthusiasts, a lot of these consoles can probably do a good bit better than some of these older PCs that are, registered on Steam with only doing 1080 and have a 580 graphics card or something along those lines. But outside of that, it's the best time, or as good of time as any that I can recall. I've only been gaming for about 35 years, give or take. So, but yeah, for the most part, with no more arcades. Arcades being a thing of the past, pretty much, unless you bought one of those one-up things for your basement. Yeah, the consoles are doing great. PC is doing great. Just harder to get, video cards and CPUs because of Bitcoin mining or, just that nonsense. But outside of that, it's a great time, and looking forward to E3 for all of them. Even though Sony's not going to participate at E3, I'm pretty sure they're going to have some announcements as well. So looking forward to it.
Okay, and last but not least, we'll wrap this thing up with you, Centurion. Just get your quick opinion on, where things are going in the industry.
Well, how can we not be kind of experiencing a golden age? There's one factor nobody's really kind of spoke on, and let's really think about, just shortly before in 2019, we were starting to see all these articles that, sales for consoles were down. Microsoft's Xbox sales were down. Oh my God, console sales were down. I remember it was like article after article about, how NPDs on console hardware was down. And all of a sudden, a pandemic occurred, something the world completely did not expect, and everybody was pretty much told to stay home. And on the way home, everybody bought game consoles, software, anything they could get their hands on. And all of a sudden, like, gaming exploded overnight. It almost felt like, Microsoft and other companies who invested in gaming before all of that went down kind of knocked it out of the park. They were probably like, "Oh my God, thank God we
woke up with big bank accounts." Like, what the hell?
Oh, dude, imagine walking into the boardroom after the Bethesda deal, going like, "Dude, we did not expect seeing this happening." Like, oh my God, like, it would blow your mind. Like, the company you bought, you would not expect to see the fruits of your labor, all of a sudden accelerate into, you're probably going to make your money back very quickly, because all of a sudden the world is just starved for content, software, hardware, you name it. I mean, everybody is wanting gaming in some shape or form, whether it's retro gaming, mobile gaming, console gaming, PC gaming. Everything is hot right now. Dude, I don't really know right now what more you could want. I mean, it's great. Pong said it earlier. It's no longer a stigma for you to walk into the room and say, I play video games, because I still get that a lot. Places I go where people like, "What do you do?" "I play games. I sit around at night, talk to really great guys about the gaming industry. I do videos on it." And people kind of look at you weird, but now it's not. It's when people see the popularity and how popular it's actually starting to get. It's starting to change people's opinions. Like, people actually start asking you questions. I mean, thanks, Shansu. I walked down the road the other day with a Fallout shirt on, and somebody stopped me and asked me about the Bethesda purchase just because I was wearing a Fallout shirt. And they're like, "Is Xbox going to start killing it?" And all I could tell them was, "Well, yeah." It completely blew my mind that literally a person has no idea that Microsoft is actually wanting to kind of change how things are done.
All right. Well, I mean, it's a lot going on, and the industry is growing, and every single point you guys brought up, just it all comes to a head to say it all contributes.
You know what? Actually, you know what, PTK? You know what? I'm seeing the chat. Go ahead and turn my screen on. I got a PowerPoint presentation that I've been cooking up.
You're not doing that. Stagger's going to destroy you right now. I promise he is. But either way,
I got a PowerPoint presentation complete with a slide reel and a 5-page essay.
Nice.
Will there be questions at the end of this? No.
But that is actually going to wrap up the show. It was another phenomenal episode. We had another amazing guest on the show, so we'll start with him. But chat, you guys are always amazing. A lot of new faces here in the chat. So once again, hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. Some more quick shout outs to some of my boy 1080 Fall in here. Some other people, Mav. I know Caitlin were in here for a while. They're still in here. Everybody that just really just hung out with us today and had some fun. And you guys are why we do this every week. And I greatly appreciate the continued support. So tell your friends about the Shop Podcast on the weekends. Tell your favorite podcasters about the Shop Podcast. Tell them to hit us up too. But either or, let's start with our guest. Assemble first and foremost, brother. Thank you for taking some time. I know we ran a little bit over, but I greatly appreciate you hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed yourself, man. And once you're on here once, you're always part of the family at this point. But let everybody know once again where they can find you and the type of things that they can expect from the channel.
Yeah, well, I want to see this PowerPoint presentation. I'm interested in terrified at the same time because it sounds like it is ready to go and it's in a corner and it's just flipping a couple of screens. I'll throw my camera on because then I can say proper highs and buys and stuff. So hi guys, and say hi to the chat too. youtube.com/assemble show. But it's been really, really fun being here, talking to you guys. A lot of Xbox, which makes me happy. But yeah, a great time being able to hang out and going through really fun topics. Interested to see where the industry is going overall, but really had a blast with you guys. Chat's awesome too. So if you guys want to check out some of the content that I do, it's youtube.com/assemble show. 1080D. Hi, how are you?
It's 108. He just killed me. He just killed me for that. I said 1080 on accident. Shout out to 108 Dragon.
108. Add that to the PowerPoint presentation.
Exactly, please. Yeah, no.
Write that down. It's okay. But guys, thank you so much. That was great. I had a blast.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Once again, you're always welcome back, brother. You're always welcome back here at the Shop Podcast. So let's go ahead and go to our four horsemen here. Stag, we'll just start with you quickly, bro. Let everybody know what's cooking up with you. Obviously, you got the streams popping off.
I get extra tacos because my youngest decided to go across the street and eat with them. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with him, how you would pass up tacos, especially steak tacos, but I get extra because he's gone. Nice. Come watch a stream sometime Monday through Friday. I'm on. My schedule varies. It was great being back here this week. Hopefully I'll be here next week. I don't know because I get my second 5G update shot that day. So I mean my COVID vaccination. Sorry.
Get that system update.
I might just be able to like telepathically send my messages into chat. So we'll see.
That
would
be awesome.
It would be, man. It'd be. You guys wouldn't have to listen to my voice.
It could be like Total Recall, walking down the sidewalk. Your hand starts ringing.
I think I'll be able to play Anthem with my mind.
Nice.
Great.
Nice. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong. Once again, you guys are always amazing. I have the best, group of guys here as far as podcasts go, in my opinion. A bit biased, but that's facts for sure. But Pong, let everybody know what's cooking up with you. You've been moving and shaking, a lot going on, but let everybody know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, thanks so much, PTK. It's been an absolute blast again. Assemble, thank you so much for joining us. It was just awesome to hear your opinions and thoughts. I'm going to start tuning into your shows as well and check them out. But thank you again for being here. Obviously, Centurion, Stag, and Fuzzy, great night, as always, with you guys on a Saturday. I love it so much. Chat, you guys were on fire tonight, as always, one of the best chats around. So thank you again for coming out and supporting us. You can find me, Pong Soul, everywhere, Xbox and Twitter. You can find me on Tuesdays at the Xbox Factor podcast with Mr. Boomstick at Double Barrel Gaming and Zemi Games. That starts at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Central Time. That is an awesome show. So Tuesdays for there. Friday nights, the Xbox Ultimate podcast with the Magnificent Seven, Fun Speculation, aka Mav, his wife Caitlin, 3-Bit, Psycho Knots. We got Lady AF, Assassin Lupa, and myself. So come check us out Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 o'clock Central Time. Great show. We just had Randall Thor on Friday night. So if you missed it, go check that out. Saturday mornings, myself and Steel Rain are getting you guys going for your Saturdays. Just come check us out. It's Living Split Screen. Split Screen is all one word. That starts at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. for the UK friends out there. We have had a huge turnout for each show. We just did episode 5 this morning. I can't believe it's already been 5 episodes. Crazy. It's crazy. It is crazy. So just come check us out. It's just me and him. We are just organic. We talk about anything. We go on rants. Steel had an epic rant today, so go check that out. Amazing, amazing time. But the community support has been incredible. So come, please, just check us out, see if you like it. Energy. That's what he and I are about on Saturday mornings. And then, of course, I'm always back here Saturday nights to wrap up my week. So thanks again, PTK. Thank you, chat. Thank you, panel. Appreciate you all. Love you all.
Pong, can you do that one more time? I missed one. I'm trying to write it down.
I didn't catch all of that. Can we run through it like 3 more times so I can write it down?
Are killing me, man.
I'll send you guys in the PDF form. Don't worry.
Stag is gonna kill you guys. Stag is gonna take this all out on everybody next week. I promise.
I won't be here next week.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Also, we're saved. Maybe you'll be cool by the week after then.
I quit.
Let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion, before we wrap this thing up with Fuzz, man. Let everybody know what's cooking up with you, brother.
Well, thank you to Assemble here. It was nice meeting you. It's always great to meet members of the community and find great sources of entertainment and information, especially in a world like today. And thank you to the chat. Thank you to all you guys here on the cast. I look forward to this every Saturday. And hey, what's up? Fun Speculation in 108. Lemon, dude. What can I say about Lemon? He is an awesome guy. I love chatting with him any chance I get. Anyways, for those interested in finding me, be sure to check me out, Centurion1307, YouTube, Xbox Live, Twitter. I'm getting in the habit of at least dropping content on my channel once a week now. Hopefully I've got my video that will be cooking up for this Monday morning, talking about actually how stacked May is for games. Don't care what anybody wants to say. There is a lot of games coming out in May. I feel like I might actually spend more money than I probably should on games in May. So look forward to that. And, find me here every Saturday night with these fine gentlemen on the Shop Podcast. I'm on the TXR Podcast every Sunday night. And I think I've drawed this out long enough just for Stagger.
And last but not least, man, we're going to smooth this out with Fuzz, man. Let everybody know what's going on with you, Fuzz.
Well, awesome show with you guys. Great having you on here, Assemble. Great meeting you and everything. Always look forward to chatting with you guys on our hobby, gaming on Saturday night. It's like the highlight, but greatly appreciate it. You can always find me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere, on PSN Fuzzy_Belvedere, or Xbox Live Fuzzy Space Belvedere, probably playing a racing game or Division. That's all.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Glad to have all you guys here. And last but not least, your boy BTK Blam across the board. Hit me up on Xbox Live if you want to play some games. Find me here as well, man. Just appreciate you guys' continued support, man. You guys always hanging out with us. Everything. So we greatly appreciate everyone. So just gonna give you guys. Next week is a very, very special show. We have a great guest coming on next week. So this is. It's been a long time coming, and I'm really excited about this. So I'll let you guys know on Monday. I can't wait to put out the tweet about it, and I'll leave it at that. You guys are going to be extremely happy with who we got on next week. So just be on the lookout for that tweet early Monday morning. But peace out. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be safe. We're out of here, everyone. Bye-bye.
Later.